Hey guys, welcome to Sub and Dub, where we talk anime and sometimes scream into the void. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Ishura. Yes, Ishura. Now we're not, I repeat, not just here to rant about how criminally underrated this anime is. But let's be real, guys. Come on now. Very, very underrated. Anyway, here's the real question I want to unpack today. What happens when the final boss is already dead?
Huh?
Yeah, in the world of Ishura, the demon lord is defeated.
Yes!
Gone. Toasted.
Yes!
The world's been saved. Yay we! And everyone's finally living in peace. Or so it seems. Now you might be thinking, okay, demon lord's out. So no war, no chaos, no need for heroes, right? Wrong. Because plot twist of the century. With the big baddie gone, the world is now crawling. No, overflowing. With god-tier fighters who've got no one left to fight. We're talking about swordsmen who can cut through sound, archers who can shoot you before you can even blink, huh? People who can end nations before you can even finish your Kellogg's. What? And here's the real kicker. They all want one thing. To be crowned the strongest, the next legend, the hero amongst heroes. So what happens when you throw all these final boss-level maniacs into one peaceful world with no villain to unite them? That's right. Pure, elegant chaos. So welcome, my friends, to the No Demon Lord world of Ishura. But wait, don't get too comfortable, because this ain't your typical anime, where the MC gets hit by Truck-kun, wakes up in some netherworld, becomes OP overnight, builds a harem like it's part of the skill tree, and then never gets a proper ending.
Nope.
Nah, fam. Ishura is built different, bro. Different. Yeah. This is where every new character introduced could potentially be the MC and become the new hero amongst heroes. Everyone has that main energy bar. You know, overcoming impossible plots with some OP-ass power, as if they just pulled it out of their ass. Yes! That type of energy. Everyone has some sad backstory. Okay now. And could clap 90% of other anime NPCs on sight. Now the anime starts off deceptively warm and peaceful in a city called Nagan Labyrinth City, a sprawling metropolis built around a massive ancient maze. Think if ancient Greece and Escher painting and Elden Ring had a baby. It's known for its twisting corridors, monster-infested dungeons, and mysterious ruins. A paradise for adventurers and a death trap for the weak. And then, bam, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Out of nowhere, the clunky metal robots started invading Nagan Labyrinth City. Buildings obliterated, faces smashed in. And I mean smashed in, bro. And not that good kind. You know what I mean. You know. No, not that you know. This Yuno, who just made her first friend, namely Lucelles, teaching her, you know, the word arts, stuffs, talking about boys. You know, that nice slice of life anime stuff that screams, nothing bad will happen. Everything's chill. Yeah, that vibe. Gone in an instant. Her newly made friend. Yeah, just got madly Negan. And I mean, even Negan would go, damn, Robbie-san, chill. But Robbie-san was like, nah, no. She had had enough of that good old hemp just yet. And I'm just sitting there like, yo, someone please unplug this toaster. But it was too late. Ah, poor Lucelle. Didn't even get a chance to grow as a character. Didn't even get an ending monologue. This was the moment that said, welcome to Ishura. There are no plot armors here. Just trauma, and boss-level violence. And that's just the first 5 minutes of the anime. So buckle up and get that sweet, comfy blanket, hot cup of ramen, and maybe a therapist on speed dial. Cause Ishura doesn't ease you in. It dropkicks you through the window like a shonen villain with dad issues. Now, here's the thing. Most isekai follow a specific formula. A protagonist from our world is transported or reincarnated into a fantasy world and becomes overpowered. Ishura doesn't follow this path. No main character from Earth, unlike Sword Art Online or That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It introduced the viewer to a high fantasy setting, not a parallel world. The world of Ishura is self-contained and not dependent on the real world for its premise. This setup allows for a sense of wish fulfillment and easy audience identification. However, Ishura breaks away from this mold entirely. Instead of following an outsider's journey in a new world, Ishura is set in a fully original fantasy universe, with no links to the real world or Earth, except when referring to some as visitors that cannot use word arts. There is no reincarnated salaryman, gamer, or shut-in protagonist. Most characters, excluding the visitors, is native to the fantasy realm and comes with their own backstory, skills, and agendas. This shift in narrative focus changes the tone drastically, from escapism to existentialism and power dynamics. Furthermore, Ishura doesn't rely on common tropes like system interfaces, leveling up, or RPG mechanics, which are staples in many isekai series like Sword Art Online or Mushoku Tensei. Instead, its world operates on pure high fantasy logic, with unique powers and mythologies grounded in its own lore. The result is a setting that feels more like Berserk than a typical isekai. This departure from the traditional isekai formula allows Ishura to offer a more mature, unpredictable, and lore-rich experience, attracting viewers who are looking for something beyond the usual power fantasy narratives. Now, I did say many characters are native, but the isekai element is still there in the form of visitors. Yes, some of them are referred to as visitors, implying they originated from other worlds or dimensions. However, Ishura does not treat this the same way as the typical isekai anime, like ReZero or Slime, where the story follows one or two characters transported from modern Earth. No main protagonist experience. However, a little bit of MC energy from your boy Sujiro in the beginning. Even though some characters are technically visitors, the story doesn't follow their journey from their original world. There's no fish out of water narrative or scenes showing them adjusting to a new world, like in most isekai. Their pasts are shrouded in mystery and only hinted at, making their origin more of a lore element than a plot device. Furthermore, all characters are almost treated as equals. Unlike the usual isekai, where the main character has the spotlight, Ishura presents multiple visitor and native characters on equal footing. Whether they came from another world or not, each warrior's strength, title, and philosophy are what define them, not their origin. You can view visitors more as a world-building tool than escapism. The existence of visitors enhances the lore by suggesting that Ishura exists within a vast, battle-scarred realm, shaped by forces beyond a single world or origin. But the anime focuses more on what happens after the fall of the Demon King, rather than explaining or centering the plot on their previous worlds. With the great evil vanquished, Ishura explores a world caught in a power vacuum, where the strongest warriors, once united by a common enemy, are now rivals vying for dominance, justice, or meaning in a world no longer at war. The question shifts from how do we defeat evil to what comes next when the strongest are left unchecked. This shift in focus creates a story not of survival or rebirth, but of legacy, ambition, and conflict. The so-called heroes, each with godlike strength, now face off against one another not to save the world, but to determine who deserves to rule it, or whether such power should exist at all. Without a central villain to fight, Ishura becomes a tale of philosophical and physical confrontation, as each character defines what it means to be the ultimate warrior in a world with no more monsters, only legends. With the fall of the Demon King, the realm of Ishura has been plunged into a state of ideological conflict where rival nations and factions, each with their own goals, beliefs, and powerful champions, now battle to shape the future of the world. There is 4 prominent powers, namely, Auriasia, the imperial power. Auriasia stands as the continent's most powerful nation, structured around a rigid hierarchy led by the enigmatic 29 officials. Though Queen Seafight sits on the throne, true authority lies with these shadowy bureaucrats. Through surveillance, manipulation, and military might, Auriasia seeks to impose order and suppress rebellion. Key figures like Rosclay the Absolute, who advocates for controlling or eliminating beings with unnatural powers, and Elia the Red Tag, a master manipulator, reveal Auriasia's ruthless pragmatism. In the power vacuum left by the Demon King, Auriasia is not merely maintaining peace, it's attempting to reshape the world under its rule. Then we have the new Principality of Lithia, the Rebellion. Born from dissent, Lithia rises as a beacon of resistance, founded on ideals of freedom and equality. It directly opposes Auriasia's oppressive grip, led by Terran the Guarded, a former Auriasian general. Lithia attracts warriors, exiles, and rebels, those who dream of a more just society. Lithia's champions are as varied as they are powerful, from wyvern riders like Regnaji to mercenaries and visitors such as Dakai the Magpie. Though its forces are scattered and often unconventional, Lithia represents the possibility of a new order, one where leadership is earned and loyalty stems from shared values, not fear. Following up is the Order, the Declining Faith. Once a pillar of civilization, the Order now struggles to remain relevant. With a religious ideology centered on the worship of the Word Maker, it champions literacy, social welfare, and spiritual revival. Its current mission is to restore its faded influence and renew belief across the continent. Led by Kunodi the Ring Seat and supported by individuals like the deadly Kuz the Passing Disaster, the Order walks a delicate line between peaceful redemption and ruthless intervention. In a world increasingly driven by power struggles, their faith may be both their strength and their greatest vulnerability. Then, lastly, we have Obsidian Eyes, the Shadow Network. Operating from the shadows, the Obsidian Eyes seek chaos. Once led by the vampire Rayhart the Obsidian, their organization was feared for its unmatched espionage and lethal efficiency. Though it fell into decline after his death, it has been revived by his daughter, Linares the Obsidian, who carries her father's ambition into a new era. Rather than build or protect, the Obsidian Eyes aim to destabilize. They thrive in disorder, manipulating events behind the scenes to weaken others and reclaim their former dominance. As nations clash, this covert network stokes the flames, profiting from the world's descent into uncertainty. Each faction in Ishura embodies a different response to the void left by the Demon King's defeat: control, rebellion, faith, and chaos. Whether through diplomacy, battle, or subterfuge, these powers now compete not just to survive, but to define the soul of a new age. In this fractured realm, heroes rise not to slay demons, but to decide what comes after. Now, I just want to end by thanking you all that have been watching to the end. Thanks, guys. And I will see you on the flip side. Also, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section on what anime you want me to talk about next.